All right, let's talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds: navigating social anxiety when you head off to college. It's a massive life change for sure, and we're going to break down some real, practical ways to make that transition feel a whole lot smoother.
So, picture this. You're thinking about college. One minute, you're buzzing with excitement, new classes, freedom, the whole deal. And then, like a switch flips, that excitement turns into this knot of pure terror in your stomach. Sound familiar?
If that does sound familiar, I really want you to hear this. You are so not alone. That wild mix of excitement and fear, it's completely normal. In fact, it's pretty much the standard experience.
So let's start right there. Let's actually dig into that feeling, because just understanding it is a huge first step toward getting a handle on it.
I mean, we all have this idea that college is supposed to be this incredible time, you know? A time for huge changes, a ton of personal growth, and all these amazing new experiences just waiting for you.
But let's be real. For a lot of us, all of that newness can also kick up some serious fear and anxiety, especially in social situations. Things like just walking into a crowded dining hall alone or trying to speak up in class for the first time. Yeah, that can be tough.
Okay, so let's dive into this and actually put a name to what we're talking about. What exactly is social anxiety? How is it different from just feeling a little nervous now and then?
So at its core, social anxiety isn't just about being shy. It's this deep, persistent fear of social situations that's all tied up in this intense worry about being judged or looked at in a negative way by other people.
And, this can show up in a bunch of different ways. For some people, it's that constant, nagging fear of being judged. For others, it's getting stuck in a worry loop, replaying something you said over and over. Then there are the physical symptoms: sweating, blushing, feeling sick to your stomach. And honestly, for a lot of people, it just feels easier to avoid those situations altogether.
But here is the really good news. This is not something you just have to live with. There are real, concrete strategies you can learn. So think of this next part as us building your own personal toolkit for coping.
Inside this toolkit, we've got 5 key strategies. It's a mix of things, really. You've got support systems, like talking to a therapist or joining a group, and then you have these personal skills you can build for yourself, like learning to challenge your own negative thoughts, practicing relaxation, and maybe most importantly, just starting small.
Let's zoom in on that third one for a second. Challenging negative thoughts. I mean, does this one sound familiar? I'm gonna make a fool of myself. It's like the theme song for social anxiety, right? It just pops into your head before you have to do, well, anything social. The trick here is to become a kind of detective for your own brain. When that thought shows up, you stop and you ask it, okay, but is there any actual evidence to back this up? This isn't just a silly mind game, it's a real technique. You're basically training your brain to break an old, unhelpful habit and build a new, more realistic one.
And what about when you feel it in your body? That's where relaxation techniques are a game changer. Something as simple as taking a few slow, deep breaths literally tells your nervous system to calm down. It's like hitting the biological off switch for that internal panic button, and it helps you get focused.
And finally, start small. This is so crucial. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. Gradual exposure is key. Maybe today, the goal is just to say hi to the person sitting next to you in your lecture. That's it. You do that, that's a huge win, and you build from there.
Okay, so we've got the tools, but what does it actually look like to use them in the wild? Let's walk through a super common real-life college scenario.
All right, here's the situation. It's a classic. You have to get up and give a presentation in front of the entire class. Yeah, for someone with social anxiety, that can feel like climbing Mount Everest.
And boom, right on cue, that negative thought shows up. The fear isn't really just about the presentation itself. It's about what you think everyone else is thinking. I'm going to forget everything I'm supposed to say. They're all going to think I'm an idiot.
So, instead of letting that fear take over, you build an action plan. You could talk to your professor beforehand. You'd be surprised how understanding they can be. Practice your presentation with a friend or even just in a mirror to build that confidence. Right before you go up, use that deep breathing technique we talked about. And most importantly, remind yourself of the truth. Pretty much everyone gets nervous doing this stuff. And this brilliantly illustrates how you can take control.
So you've got the tools and you've seen how to use them. But you don't have to do any of this all by yourself. Let's talk about where you can find some backup. And this, right here, is probably the most important thing we'll talk about today. If you take away just one thing, please let it be this. You do not have to go through this alone. Anxiety just loves to make us feel isolated. But the truth is, support is out there.
A great first stop is your college's counseling center. They're there specifically to help with this kind of thing. And there are also some amazing online resources, like the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, the ADAA, which has a ton of great information and a real sense of community.
Look, social anxiety can feel like this huge, overwhelming thing, but it is absolutely manageable. With the right strategies and the right support, you really can learn to cope with these feelings and live a full, exciting, and rewarding life in college and way beyond.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Thinking about everything we just talked about, what is one small step you can take today? Not tomorrow, not next week. What's one tiny, manageable action you can take to put this toolkit into practice right now?